Hello, my health freedom loving friends. Misty Carlfeld here with Health Freedom Idaho. I am here with a super dad, Corey Chappell, and I want to have him share his story with you because we've been talking a lot about what to do when CPS shows up at your door, and Corey did exactly the right thing. He is an educated dad, and he had educated himself on what to do should CPS show up at your door. And of course, you never think this is going to happen to you, but being prepared when it happens changes everything. So Corey, tell me what happened. How did this even come about? Like, why would somebody call? Because we know in Idaho, everybody is a mandatory reporter. And I think this is part of the law that needs to be changed, because then you literally are pitting neighbor against neighbor. But in this situation, it happened through the school. So how did this start?
Yeah, it was, my son goes to school at Idaho Arts Charter School, and he's 6 years old, and they provide their own uniforms for you. And they actually gave us a bunch of used uniforms, used shirts from their school. And the principal and the counselor there had decided that they were going to report that my son was stinky at school. He smelled. So that's how.
Because boys always smell so good, right?
Right.
I have two boys myself.
Right.
Wow. Okay. So that's how it started.
Yeah.
Boy smells bad. No, you don't say.
I was lucky enough that I wasn't feeling well in the morning, so I didn't go to work the day that CPS showed up. Oh. They showed up around 11, somewhere around there, about a week ago. And two ladies, they have the neck, what do you want to call those things?
Like a lanyard thing?
Yeah, like a lanyard with their identification on it.
Okay. Oh, two ladies.
Yeah, two ladies showed up. And
no police officer?
No.
Okay.
No police officer at this point. And my wife woke me up. I was taking a nap, and so I look out the window and I see a couple ladies out there, and we're not opening the door. So I went to the window to find out, who they were, what they wanted. And so I open the window. A lady walks over by the window and tells me they're from the state, and I just told them, "Hey, you're trespassing." And I probably said that a couple times, and then they turned around and left. After that, probably about an hour later, they show up with a policeman from Nampa City Police, and he comes to my door, and I see him coming, so I walk outside and I lock the door behind me. Good. And he proceeds to try to tell me on my doorstep that the Nampa City has the authority to, because we live in the city, they have the authority to go in my house.
So because you live in the city, you don't have a Fourth Amendment right.
That's what he was essentially telling me.
Okay. Yes. Okay, so how did that go?
So I was like, no, nope. You gotta go get a warrant if you want to come in my house.
That's right.
And from then on, he went outside of the gate because, I really didn't want him there anyway. But he went outside of the gate, and I shut the gate. So if they want to talk to me, they can talk to me on the easement all they want.
That's right.
So
I love it.
So they're on the sidewalk, and he goes and talks to the CPS ladies, and I start recording then. And,
yes.
Then after he talks with them for like a minute or two, he comes back and talks to me, and now I'm recording, and his whole tune changed because I was recording, I think.
I'm sure.
And I just told them what I knew, and that I knew my kids were safe and they were happy, and that if they wanted to come back again, they better have a warrant.
Oh my goodness.
And sometimes you need to tell them more than once, that no, you're not going to do this, and you have to have a warrant.
This is what happens when citizens understand their rights. It's a very different story when citizens don't understand their rights and they allow the CPS agent into the home. And then they are literally looking for things to back up the claim against you. When you don't let them into your home, you don't allow your Fourth Amendment right to be violated, this is typically what happens. I'm not saying every time, and I'm certainly not giving legal advice. I'm just trying to bring examples of when it works and what doesn't work. And Corey did exactly what he needed to do. And I love that, and not everybody is this brave. Not everybody's brave enough to get them out to the property line. And I think that's also very important. It shows that this is my home, this is my domain, this is my property. Let's go out to my property line where you're not trespassing and I'm safe on my property, and then we can have the discussion. And then bringing up the video camera and shedding light into something that could have gone very badly. And interesting to me that they showed up a second time without a warrant, because again, the police officer is not there to protect the dad.
No.
The police officer is not there to protect the family. The police officer is there to protect the CPS agent. So then what happened? Because everybody's afraid at this point they're going to go get a warrant and come in and take your children.
Well, then they left, and I myself was a little worried that they would try to get a warrant or something like that.
Sure.
You know, I want to know the status of what was going on.
Sure.
So I could go back to work.
Right.
And
yeah, because at that point I'm sure you're thinking, I'm not leaving.
Right.
Yeah, I'm going to be guard dogging my house.
Right. Right. So I go to the principal, which was my accuser, the principal and the counselor of that school, and I wait in their lobby for a half an hour before I get to talk to her, which is fine. I go back in there and I have my phone just recording. I don't have any faces on or anything, but they're both talking. And just ask them questions. I was asking for my data backpack because there's supposed to be some data on your children.
High five again on the data backpack.
I got that from somebody else.
Yes.
But they couldn't come up with anything. They didn't really know what I was talking about. Maybe it's a little different with a charter school. I don't know. But they did give me a few files on my son. Nothing really telling or anything like that. But I did ask them if they reported my son or my family to CPS, and they admitted that they both reported my family to CPS. And then I asked them what was the immediate danger to my son.
Good question.
And they only said that the law requires them to report anything, and they said it's their word for safety. And I asked them, what was immediate danger? And they didn't have an answer for that.
Good question.
So they essentially kicked me out after that, which is, that's fine. But
yeah, that's a very good question. What is the immediate danger of being a stinky boy?
Right. So basically I've got a recording of them admitting that they had done that.
Very good.
And then after that I went to the CPS office, and I requested records on the case, and the secretary told me the case was closed already. I don't know if they can give you records if they're still open or not. I don't think they can. But they said it was closed, so I requested all the records on that. And I also, I am going to file parental power of attorneys for some family. So if there is any issues, they can go directly to family without them, the state messing around with them.
Now, I thought a judge had to approve that. Is that not the case, what you're finding?
That I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know about that.
Okay.
I'm getting into that.
Okay, so from my understanding, you can do that and then the judge still has to approve it. And sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. Okay. Wow, good for you. Okay. There's a couple of points I would like to make here. The government does not give you your rights. God gives you your rights. And the government is there to protect those rights, not to trample all over your rights. Again, you need to protect your 4th and 14th Amendment rights. Let's just go through a few stats here in Idaho. In 2018, there were 23,599 referrals to Idaho Health and Welfare or law enforcement officers for neglect, abandonment, or abuse of children. And as you can see in this story, they are just assuming that because someone is stinky, that it's neglect and feeling like they have to report it. Now, I've reported on even neighbors calling in or people at the grocery store calling in because people in Idaho are mandatory reporters. I think this definitely needs to change. And you know, as far as neglect goes, I don't know about you, my washing machine was like really turning out stinky clothes for about 2 weeks. And I was like, what? Until I got it, I ran some cleaner through it, but I thought, oh my gosh, all our clothes stink to high heaven. Now, this is normal family stuff. So there has to be some give for normal family stuff like stinky boys. I have 2 of them myself. Okay, so here's another one. Over 80% of those reports were unfounded. Okay, look how busy we're keeping CPS 80% of the time calling for unfounded claims. So then when CPS showed up at over 10,000 doors here in Idaho, they removed 1,374 children from their families, and 66% of the time, children are returned without the parent losing their rights. So it makes me wonder if 66% of the time, you know, of the 1,374 children, if they were removed wrongly. But let's not forget what happens when they are removed. They immediately go for a physical, and whether sexual abuse has been said or not, that's what they check for. So he could have had a stinky boy that immediately goes for a full physical, being looked at by a stranger in a way that that was never an accusation. It's absurd. And then, here's another thing. The Idaho House Bill 170, we had a great bill, which was a notification of rights bill, and it would put parents on notice that they don't have to let CPS in. So this is a well-informed dad, and he did everything right from what I can tell from the stories that I've heard. What if a parent doesn't know? So then that parent lets them in, and so begins the process. But if we could get this bill passed in Idaho, a parent would be handed a piece of paper that says, you don't have to let me in, you don't have to talk to me, you do have the right to get an attorney, and it puts that parent on notice, I might need to not let you in right now. Let me find out what my rights are. Now I'm gonna go federally on some numbers here, so hold on with me here. This is a sad statistic. 61,000 foster children have gone missing since 2000. An additional 53,000 children have been listed as runaway. So since 2000, we're talking about over 100,000 children. The NCMEC report shows 88% of missing sex trafficked kids come from U.S. foster care. So this warrior, badass daddy just saved his 6 children from being one of these statistics. So educate yourself, moms and dads, because you want to be ready. It doesn't mean you're bringing it on. It's like an insurance policy, right? Like, I'm going to get this disability insurance in case something happens to me. It doesn't mean I'm bringing it on. It means I'm ready. We're prepared if something were to happen. It's the same way if CPS comes to your door. And I don't want to take away from really great foster parents or really great CPS agents that are really doing good things and saving children who are truly abused or neglected. But as we can see from the numbers, that's not always the case. And definitely in this case, that was not the case.
Right.
You're awesome.
Thank you.
Is there anything you want to add to the parents out there in Idaho? Any message you'd like to send?
Well, you don't have to do it like me. You can always just go up and lock the door and not answer it, wait till they leave. You don't have to even talk to them. They're on your property. You can choose to do whatever way you want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So,
that's true.
just don't let them in. Whatever you do, you don't let them
Do
in.
not let them in. And you did something else right that I think is worth mentioning, and that is that he put out there, my children are safe. My children are happy. My children are healthy. My children they're good, right? So you're putting into their minds what you already know to be true. My children are happy, healthy, and safe. We don't need you here. There's truly families out there and children that do need them. And this wasn't one of them.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
So be armed with your rights, friends, and stand firm. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.